afford. I had the good fortune of actually, I was placed in different parts of the world on different assignments, both in developing countries and developed countries, and lived and worked there with my family, with both my children as well as my as well as my spouse. And despite being an American expat, having access to what would be deemed to be the best healthcare facilities there in those countries, I must admit that I was able to see the huge disparity between what was affordable and available, accessible between developed countries and developing countries. And largely to me, and during the same time, I actually lost 6 family members to diabetes. And to me, it seemed like largely this was driven by, access to or availability of quality medical devices. And I was able to, and for me, that seemed, and it still is, a very big need, a disparity that actually needs to be closed in terms of the gap. So what I really observed is that it definitely seems like either when we talk about quality, of these medical devices, one is availability of these medical devices, and the second is the quality of these and the affordability. When you look at actually what is being manufactured, most of these medical devices are being manufactured in first world countries, they're highly regulated. And when they're highly regulated, there is actually a cost aspect to it, and which then actually makes it, if you will, less affordable in developing countries. So I really looked at how do we innovate in the space of product development and manufacturing, applying frugal engineering concepts to both product development and manufacturing without compromising on how we actually comply with what is required from a regulatory perspective in order to deliver value for money. And that's really what we've focused on in terms of innovation. We've really disrupted that space in order to be able to achieve that.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I mean, I'm just doing a little bit of fast forward here, Anu. I mean, there is a lot of connection between, the diagnostic kits that you design and develop and COVID, right? So what would be this direction that you would take? And I know you existed from 2012 or thereabouts. So what was your state prior to COVID, and assuming that COVID stabilizes, not going away, but demand for COVID diagnostic kits could go down, I don't know. But what would be your different other plans, plan A, plan B, or different plan A's going forward?
Yeah. So one of the things that the world came to during COVID times, one of the things that the world became acutely aware of and sensitive to is, and realized how critical it is to be self-sufficient in their own regions, maybe not in their countries, but at least in their own regions, to have access to the right kind of diagnostics. So thereby creating this ecosystem and allowing this ecosystem to mushroom, especially in India. And we fortunately were able to, we were fortunately amongst the first at that time to indigenize a lot of the test kits, and really come out with breakthrough technology when it comes to either sample collection or testing. And that's actually given way to a lot of, and we've really, we were very strong in engineering and R&D, and it's given us an opportunity to actually shore up in terms of our engineering and R&D during this time as well. So to answer your question, while COVID has become a very normal part of life right now, and as we speak, the numbers are going up, and there are different variants, and also there is a lot of flu-like viruses basically that have caught on in the community, and I'm sure that a lot of you have actually experienced this either with your children or with your with yourselves. I mean, it's been it's really been agnostic to age group as far as these viruses are concerned. And what we've come to realize is that we've actually been able to use our R&D platforms to build up on our RT-PCR capabilities, testing capabilities, diagnostic capabilities, and we have a very strong product pipeline. And recently, I want to tell you that we've almost cleared our 6-gene kit, which can detect not only SARS-CoV but also RSV, the respiratory virus, as well as actually the influenza A and B, and also as a part of that H1N1, which actually has caught on in the community around the country. And also, we've been shortlisted by ICMR recently amongst 34 companies to collaborate. We are the top 3, one of the top 3 companies to collaborate on monkeypox, to develop a kit for monkeypox. And we have other products actually in the pipeline, specifically using RT-PCR testing, using RT-PCR technologies, especially since the infrastructure now that was non-existent before, the RT-PCR testing infrastructure that was non-existent before, which allows us to test for so many more conditions and diagnose very swiftly for so many more conditions right now, exists today, not only in the country, but around the world. So we are in the process of actually innovating a whole lot more in this space using this using this platform. Using this platform, this is one of our diagnostic platforms, by the way. So using this platform, and we hope to become a global leader in the space.
Wow. Okay. So for that journey to becoming the global leader, and I know I have a few answers myself, but for the sake of audience, could you give me top of the mind recall on your top 1 or 2 differentiators from other diagnostic companies? How do you stay ahead of the curve with respect to domain and technology, for example?
Great question. So we actually stay ahead of the curve, number one, in the way we've actually designed our kits to be able to, with targeting the right sites, in terms of being able to identify in a very nuanced manner even the variants and the subvariants. That's number one. Of any sort of viral and bacterial borne diseases, infectious diseases. Second, we actually have a complete solution. We target a complete solution. We offer a complete solution, which not only includes the diagnostic kit, but also collecting the sample itself, be it saliva or swab-based sample, and it's fully indigenized, including the chemistry itself. And in addition to that, we have a complete digital platform that's able to track and trace the sample right to the point that the report is delivered. So we have the complete value chain that we actually offer that enable, that not only enable the labs and hospitals, but also ultimately is able to provide complete transparency to the patient themselves. The third thing in the way we actually differentiate ourselves is basically to the labs. We are able to actually, for example, with our Novus kit, I will tell you, this is our 5-gene kit that actually can detect the sublineages of the SARS-CoV, which is including Omicron, the subvariants of Omicron itself. We're able to conduct 92 tests in actually less than 45 minutes. Now, that's something, and we do that, and this is something we're able to do with all our diagnostic kits. not just with the SARS-CoV, but also with our respiratory panel that I just talked about a couple of minutes ago, which can actually diagnose not just SARS-CoV, but also RSV as well as influenza A and B at the same time. So we're able to provide a faster turnaround time using the gold standard method and not just the rat method, right? And finally, we actually are able to make it, there are two other things. We're able to comply with all required standards and certification, which is so key and critical, just in terms of ensuring that we're able to provide stable quality with our manufacturing, not just a one-time certification of the product, but actually, for every batch, we're able to ensure that we're able to provide a stable quality, and there's no compromise whatsoever, not just with the manufacturing licensing, but also with all of the other certifications that we have with our manufacturing facility. And finally, we do provide value for money with the pricing that we offer. So these are all the differentiators that we actually deliver, enabling healthcare delivery and diagnostic delivery businesses.
That hits a bullseye, Anu. Reshma, while I ask questions, can you encourage audience to put their questions on chat, send it to you, and so
Yes.
that you can, so that we don't wait after I finish for the audience to ask questions. So this message for all of you guys, please do post your questions in the chat window, because this is not my interview, this is an interview for you. Please ask questions. So Anu, coming back to this point, so two things, right? One is certification and the other is compliance from a regulatory perspective. So if you can tell us, which are the agencies that have certified your product, and that will also establish to this group in terms of the tremendous credibility you have built. And how do you ensure, considering that your market may be India and overseas, from a regulatory FDA kind of compliant, what kind of steps that you have taken and what have been your challenges there?
Yeah, so especially in the medtech space, I have to say that, India just recently, I would say just pre-COVID, started coming into its own and differentiating regulatory requirements between pharmaceutical and medtech. So when I started the company, when you said 2012 we initially started, there really was nothing specifically delineating the requirements for medtech versus the medical devices versus pharmaceutical. But now the country has done a really nice job. But I do have to say, because it's evolving, it's still a moving target. But which is a big challenge, because day to day this is changing. But that is the case all over the world as we come across different challenges with the way the kits perform, the devices perform. There's always something that happens that then make sure that the policymakers then come in and sort of make it a moving target. Having said that, now India has really taken the bull by its horns, and literally for medtech, they have they have a fairly comprehensive policy that they've come up with in terms of what type of standards that they've set and how we need to meet those standards. And everything is literally online. It is a little challenging because initially you have to navigate it, but once you get it, you will be able to understand how the categorization actually works. For example, with US FDA, it's class 1, 2, 3, but with India, it's class A, B, C, D, right? So, it is fairly extensive, and one must really be very, what shall I say, well-versed in the nuances and the details. As we say, the devil is in the detail. As far as the diagnostics are concerned, especially since since SARS-CoV, ICMR has taken on a very, very active role. So any sort of either it's NIB or ICMR that actually gets involved when it's a diagnostic kit. I mean, they need to first validate it, and then the process is there's CITESCO. There are two regulating bodies, so that gets a little challenging and confusing. So one must actually be aware of how those two bodies interact with each other and how that works. Apart from product certification, by the way, I mean, because for the product, literally, I would say for anybody who's innovating out there, I mean, obviously, I mean, your audience here is the Health Technology Innovation Center and folks who are in the startup ecosystem. And I would certainly advise these guys to be aware of really understanding what the product development methodology should be and what the intersect at these different stages are with the documents that need to be developed so that they're able to easily comply with product certification requirements, not just in India, but also overseas, such as US FDA. So that's a very key and critical aspect that these guys, the innovators, must really be aware of and be in sync with. Now, apart from this, when you actually take the product to commercialization, I would say the challenge is going to be in ensuring that regardless of whether you intend to outsource your product, meaning have a collaboration with a manufacturing facility or manufacture it yourself, there's going to be another challenge where you need to ensure that your QMS and your QSPs, all of them have to actually comply with ISO 13485:2016, which is specific to Medtech, right? Medical devices. And that is a minimum requirement where you have to comply with ensuring that your facility is compliant with ISO 13485:2016. And obviously, if you want to basically go overseas, I mean, there are other compliances that you must be aware of that you need to prepare for. So this I would say is basic. So this makes it extremely challenging. It's not easy, but yeah, I would definitely say it's absolutely doable. And it's always better to ensure that you do it right from the get-go, because one may think that you're actually trying to be super fast and you're trying to cut corners, but eventually you're going to end up, it's going to end up in a situation where it's going to be like hurry up and wait, because you really need to know how to navigate this right at the beginning so that you will not have any challenges when you're ready to go to market.
From a skills perspective, it's not easy in India, especially as you rightly said.
Oh gosh, no.
how do you solve that puzzle?
I don't know if so I was kind of shocked and surprised that India actually has put out the Indian government, CIDSCO, has actually put out, by the way, there were no inspectors for medical devices in India in CIDSCO. It was just for pharmaceutical. And all these inspectors now are being tasked, who are only familiar with the pharmaceutical regulation, are being tasked to basically audit medtech companies. And that's been a huge challenge. And they're open about it. And they're like, hey, listen, we're learning. And CIDSCO has actually put out I think job openings for over 500 medical device inspectors. So if anybody here is looking for a job,
yeah, there we go.
Medical device inspectors. So there's a huge shortage. And you get in the queue because you don't have enough people trying to do the inspection, and you don't have people who know. And I have to tell you, I was shocked but pleasantly surprised when we've gotten manufacturing licenses for now with CIDSCO for over, I want to say about 20-25 products. And so what was very interesting was the Tamil Nadu, so for Class A and Class B, Tamil Nadu drug license authorities actually will do your licensing, and for Class C and Class D, it's actually the central. So Tamil Nadu has become very smart. What they do is basically the drug license inspectors will go to the 510K site, the US FDA 510K site, and they will look at what is the documentation, and they basically get the guys to do exactly the same thing. So
okay, these are all great secrets.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Reshma, are there questions? I have one final one because I know we have only 10 more minutes. Reshma, any questions, or do anybody want to show their hands and ask questions?
Yes, sir. We have few questions in the chat box.
Yeah, so, they can either shout out the questions or you can read. Either
yes,
way.
participant can unmute your mic and shoot out the queries. So meanwhile, we have a few questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Question from Rajendran is, can you share about early stage? Yes.
Could you be a little bit more clear about early stage? What would you like me to share about early stage?
Rajendran, can you please?
Yeah, like your 0 to 3 years of experience, how it was difficult, how it was challenging.
Oh my gosh.
Of the company, right, Rajendran? You're talking of 0 to 3 from a company Medtech perspective, I guess.
Wow, that was rough. And it still continues to be rough. I mean, the life of an entrepreneur is never easy. But I have to say that, just in terms of navigating there are several aspects to it, right? I mean, all of us being engineers or life sciences, or folks who are focused on life sciences and innovation, we tend to focus on product, but we really forget. We can't really get our product out unless we have our statutory compliances from a company perspective done, unless we actually have our finances in order, and we have the required funding, and we understand the regulatory aspect of product, which are all key and critical to even dreaming. I mean, even to sort of to try and make your dream a reality, right? And unfortunately, that has nothing to do with your innovation, but it has everything to do with the business aspect that is a necessary evil, if you will, in order to make your dream and your product a reality that can impact lives, and that can also, if you're that can not only impact lives, that can also then turn your business into something that's profitable. Otherwise, you're never going to get out of a cell, your incubation cell. So these are all key and critical aspects that I would say that are going to be challenging if when you're a first-time entrepreneur and you're learning the ropes, which is the same thing that happened to me, no different. But unfortunately, there are no shortcuts. You've got to bite the bullet, learn the ropes, and you got to hit it.
So easy way, Rajendran.
Okay. Thanks.
Next question, Reshma.
Yes, sir. Next question from Soundarya Meena. What is the biggest challenge you faced in entrepreneurship journey? How you overcome?
Oh wow, that's a very good question. So
I know what she says. You have already overcome the challenges.
I am still overcoming the challenges. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a fun day. I have to say there are 2-3 aspects to this, right? One is my journey was a little different in the sense that I switched industries, right? I came from automotive to medtech. I left the country pretty young. Even I never held a job in India. Did not know anything about first of all, did not even know what a paycheck looked like in India. Leave alone and being an entrepreneur for the first time. And then on top of it, really, not knowing the whole financing and funding ecosystem, right? I mean, so there were several challenges that I had to overcome. And then finally, it was about, finally I did have my challenges being a woman in this space as well. So it's not easy being a woman entrepreneur as well. And so I had my own set of challenges there. So I would say there were all of these different challenges that I had to overcome to come to this point, to build the company to this point. However, I would say that it continues. I mean, if you don't continue to have challenges, I believe that, I don't know, I believe that you've stopped dreaming.
Yeah. You have to dream in the daylight. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, you really have to. If you have a big dream, then every day is a challenge. That's all I would say.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Next question, Reshma.
So we have one question in the chat box. Sri Sucharita, you can please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yeah, that was a wonderful session from Anu Moturi. I'm Dr. Sri, and right now we are building as your session says, prototype for early detection of oral cancer. So my question is like, for undertaking clinical trials, what were your challenges when you are trying to validate it in real world scenario?
Oh gosh. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, Doctor?
Sri.
Dr. Sri. Okay, great. Hey, Dr. Sri, very nice to meet you. I have to say that's such a relevant question, and that's on point. I mean, that is the biggest challenge, if I have to say, for anything else, right? So obviously you have CROs, right? But for a startup, that can be pretty darn expensive. It's not easy. Okay, you're not a Pfizer, or you're not a Abbott, where you can just throw money at this and then you can try to, sort of recover the money, recover the money very quickly, right? I mean, so this is tough. And when you actually try to approach a hospital, you have to get your ethical committee clearance. Okay, getting an ethical committee clearance is like jumping through 50 hoops of fire. Not easy. So unfortunately, I'm not going to have a magic answer to that question. You really have to figure out how to really build collaborations with the right institutions, or with the right or partnerships with the right experts, that will then allow you to actually build out the right what shall I say, the right program for your trial, or protocol for your trial, in the right organization, so you can actually do it at a less prohibitive cost, and within a very fast period of time. That's the only way to do it, with collaborations and with partnerships. And unfortunately, there's no way around that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Reshma, any more questions?
Yeah, that's it, sir. So I request you and Anumam to be here for another 10 to 15 minutes, where we have our young upcoming women entrepreneurs for the Splash Fellow for the interview. It will be useful for them in the future, sir.
Sure. So as we wind down the conversation, Anu, just a couple of quick questions. So, I mean, this audience is very diverse. They are young, of course, but many of them are doctors, many of them are practitioners, all strong in domain, trying to do entrepreneurial journey. Some of them are midway. Any advice, word of wisdom that you would like to share with them?
Resilience is the name of the game.
Yeah. Okay.
If I had to say one thing, it would be resilience.
Sure.
To keep your eye on the purpose, and to really question yourself, why did you start this journey, right? And that's a very important thing to always bear in mind, and to be laser focused on that higher purpose. It could be anything. I mean, your purpose is your own, right? To not to lose heart. I mean, the world needs people like us, right? And really needs people like us. And I would say that, you might falter a few steps, but then the joy and the joy and is in the pain. So I know that sounds a little lopsided, that the joy is in the pain, but it is, because at the end of it, when you prevail, you're going to be very excited. So I would say, don't lose heart. That's what I would say. And I'm not saying that the men don't have challenges. The men have their own challenges. Every entrepreneur has challenges. But I would also like to recognize the women in here, specifically to say that, hey, ladies, it's not easy, because because you may have certain challenges when it comes to funding, or maybe when it comes to the social construct, and with any family commitments that you might have. There are challenges that are specific to your own gender. So it is very important that you stay with it and continue to pursue your passion.
Yeah, you have been a tremendous source of inspiration forget about women per se, but for the entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially in this part of the country. I think you are a role model for many others to follow. And I'm sure many of you will now try to track you down at Kriya Med. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure they all will benefit from you. One final question from me, Anu.
Yeah.
What does Anu, the electrical engineer, tell Anu, the Medtech entrepreneur?
Well, a problem is a problem that needs to be solved. And my engineering skills, I want to tell the engineers here, right? I mean, these are portable skills. And the electrical engineer tells the medtech entrepreneur that whatever I learned and how to solve a problem, whether it was, whether it was an engineering school or whether it was on the floor at Ford Motor Company while I was actually, whether it was in the Dearborn engine and fuel tank plant or whether it was in the transmission plant or whether when I was launching a vehicle, right? It is really, at the end of the day, how do you look at the problem in the way it impacts your customer, right? And how is it delivering value to the customer and what problem we're trying to solve for the customer, right? Agnostic of engineering, agnostic of anything. It's basically what, at the end of the day, how am I solving that problem that it actually makes my customer's life, solves my customer's pain and makes my customer's life much better, especially in the medtech space, I would say, in the way it actually allows for my, to whether it's diagnosing or whether it is managing pain or whether it is managing a disease, how is it solving my customer's problem?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it's all about customers, and I'm so, it's so nice that you kind of double click that aspect of the business. As I say, we are only as good as our customers. So the customers we have, Okay. So on that note, thank you very much. I want to respect time. I really appreciate the effort that you put in making this happen. And it has been one of our best sessions, Anu, in terms of knowledge. So I really enjoyed it, and I continuously learn. This is a second occasion or second encounter with you for me, and every time I meet you, I think I learn something new. And for the people here, I think this is, I'm sure, a tremendous learning as well.
Thank you, Mohan. I really appreciate the opportunity, and your audience has been great. And I welcome any, even after the session, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I welcome anybody who wants to reach out to me. Not a problem.
Thank you. Reshma, on that note, I'm not signing off. I'm going to stay on the call,
Yes,
as you
sir.
said. I will
Thank
leave
you.
Anu to decide what she wants.
Yes,
But I'll
sir.
stay on mute. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience with our startups. I hope startups have gained knowledge through your global experience. Again, I request you to stay with us for another 10 to 15 minutes for the special interviews.
Sure, I will. No problem.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's move on to the next part of the interview with the Sparsh Fellows. You can ask the questions, and you can also put it in the chat box, and they'll be answering it. So we have two Sparsh Fellows today. Lena Lalson and Soundarya Mera is a Sparsh Fellow at IITM HTIC. Both of them are young women, upcoming entrepreneurs, and working on the theme of aging and health. So I would like to have a short introduction about yourself. So Soundarya, can you go ahead first?
Hello, yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madras present here. Myself, Soundarya Meera. I'm a 2021 passed out student. I have completed post-graduation in biotechnology. And during my college time, I had 3 years research experience in cardiology. And I I was an aspiring bio-entrepreneur. That's why I have chosen this platform. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Soundarya. Leena?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Leena Rajsan from Kerala. I did my bachelor's in zoology, and later I was always interested in finding the unknown and in the micro level of our cell and human life. So later I did my master's in genomic science, and yeah, after I graduated in last year, and then I got the opportunity for this fellowship. And I already mentioned that I am interested in identifying the unknown and use it for the betterment in the healthcare sector. So this fellowship is very important for me in the entrepreneurship journey and to improve the quality of life by giving healthcare solutions. So this is a platform for me to fulfill it.
Thank you, Leena. So participants, as informed earlier, you can unmute your mic and ask your queries, or you can post in the chat box. I'll just read out for you all. So I have a few questions. So what motivated you guys to apply for the Sparsh Fellow?
Hello, ma'am. Actually, I have 3 reasons. Firstly, Sparsh Fellowship is providing me an exposure to real-time environment where I can interact with the people and the healthcare professionals and can find the real need of them. What are the challenges they are facing? All those needs are unmet need and haven't fulfilled yet. That is my first reason, and secondly, I can express my originality in every step, every phase of this entrepreneur's journey, from finding out the right problem statement and how am I approaching that problem statement and coming up with a novel solution. Everywhere I'm expressing my uniqueness and innovativeness, and I really liked that freedom of working on my own idea. It really attracted me, this fellowship. And then the beauty of the startup is I can see the result and impact of my hard work and applied research. After my product reaches the market, I can see the result in reality, in real life, how it changed the people, how it changed the lifestyle of the people, how it resulted in the betterment of the healthcare. So when I feel at one point that my product is impacting so many people's lives, that will give me immense happiness. All these factors motivated me to apply for this Sparsh Fellowship.
Thank you, Soundarya. Leena? Leena, can you please answer what motivated you to apply for the Sparsh Fellow?
Yeah, I always wanted to become an independent woman, and one of my passion is to become an entrepreneur and use my skills and translate it, and so it would be useful for the society, especially in the healthcare sector. So this is a very important platform for me, and it will guide me, help me through the whole journey, and it would be like a very useful platform for me to achieve my dreams and fulfill my passion.
Thank you, Leena. Participants, if you have any queries, you can shoot out your queries. So I have a question for Soundarya. So why did you choose the theme in aging and health out of so many themes out there?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Actually, I always had a deep-rooted passion for both biotechnology and healthcare field. Even in Sparsh, except waste to value theme, all other themes are either directly or indirectly linked to public health. For me, approach towards healthcare is divided in 3 aspects: make people people live longer, live healthier, and then live happier. In this 3 aspect, for me, making people live longer is first and foremost. This is the basic thing. So I thought aging and health is more suitable for me. And since I have already experience in cardiology, I thought I can use my knowledge and experience in that field in this theme better than other themes, compared to other themes.
Thank you, Soundarya. So I would like to ask Lena. So what are the challenges or difficulties you are facing the theme of aging and health?
Okay. Aging and health is actually a very interesting theme. And speaking about the challenges in the theme, initially everyone would think that coming up with a problem statement with huge market size and developing a patentable idea are the biggest challenges. But these two alone won't determine the success of the product. I think the end user experience and how receptive they are to adapt our solution are the deciding factors too. So these things have to be given consideration from the early stages of ideation. So these things are can be considered as the challenges. Yeah.
Thank you, Lena. So how does the Sparsh Fellowship program help the society? Soundarya, can you tell?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Actually, at the end of this fellowship, we five of us are expected to start our own venture, where we will coming up with the five different innovative products that is solving the unmet needs of the society. So, in end, for certain, all our solution will result in the betterment of healthcare, and it will give a huge helping hand for our elder society, since our theme is aging and health. So like our solutions are focusing on unmet need that we found in real time, where the existing solution is not enough. So the immersion phase and our novel solution will help the society a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Soundarya. So I request participants to ask your queries to the Sparsh Fellows.
Uh, Good evening, both Soundarya and Lena Ralston. This is Anban here. So I just want to know how good was your immersion phase during your past fellowship? If you could share it, that would be really great. You should have gone to different areas.
Yes, I can answer the questions. Uh, Physical immersion is the best part of the fellowship till date. Actually, I would say that physical immersion is a once in a lifetime experience, and it not only helped us in the entrepreneurship or fellowship journey, but also gave me so many life lessons. For us, it started with a rural immersion in Odanchatram, so where we were with the elderly people and with doctors and tribal people, colonies, and we've been there and we were experiencing their real life. And yeah, and after that we got so many other chances to explore the rural, tribal, and urban people lives, and it has helped to understand and compare their lifestyle and health problems. And during the immersion, I have realized that there are many things we can't learn from Google or books, and we can only learn that from the experience, real time experience, and learn from the doctors and health workers experience. So actually, emotion is the best part where we can identify from the observation and by just interaction or seeing anything, and we can identify the existing needs and what all should be done and what is lacking in the society. That part was very clear by the immersion.
And actually, Lena pretty much covered everything wonderfully. What I wanted to add is you can directly ask them what are the cost of this scanning device, and even you can ask directly people why you are not using the existing solutions like hearing aid, whatever it is. We can find the end user experience and what kind of comfort they are expecting, and through that itself we can find a lot of problem statements. And also there we have faced many situations all the healthcare professionals are ready with the problems, and even they are openly telling these kind of solution would do good. So immersion is a most important part for this entrepreneurship journey. And we can compare all the tribal, rural, and urban people, their lifestyle, their different needs, but common problems.
Great. Nice to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Soundarya. So we have one question in this chat box from Nitya. Out of many other entrepreneurs out there, why do you think you can be successful? Anyone like to go ahead? Lena or Soundarya?
Yes, actually it is It was a very wonderful question, and I would say it is. This is my life purpose. I see. No, I didn't intentionally. I didn't choose academic research and choose a startup because I wanted to solve the problem and I wanted to see the effect of it in real time, not only in journals, or I don't want to take so many years. I wanted to help with help of multidisciplinary team. I wanted to solve it. So when it's in a life purpose, I don't think there is an option like giving up. Of course there will be things that are impossible, but overcoming the impossible is what entrepreneurship is all about. So I think, as ma'am told, resilience and not giving up is more important. And how much, if you have so much passion for it, like if we can't always shut down our heart, no, it will keep reminding us what is our passion, what is our purpose. So I think I'm not sure about whether I will succeed or fail, but I can say that I will go till the end. I will see what it is there. I won't give up.
So thank you, Soundarya. So Mohan sir and Anu ma'am, did you have any questions for the young entrepreneurs?
Not really. I just wanted to congratulate both of them for pursuing their passion and for believing in their purpose. And I would say that it is really, like I said, we need more such people, more such folks more such people who really want to make a difference. And I specifically liked what Soundarya said, which is, really looking at the final, looking at how it makes a difference when it turns into, when the product really gets out there, how it makes a difference and solves a real problem. I mean, that's what each one of us are doing. And I would say we need to continue to believe that, believe in this purpose and continue to persist and be resilient to make it happen.
I echo the same views. And of course, I know about the Spurge Fellowship. It's a great initiative by the government. And I'm glad that both of you have been shortlisted. And when I just heard you talk, I could sense that, of course, both of you are young, but at the same time, the fire in the stomach that both of you have is infectious for sure. And I wish you all the best and go through all the hurdles, as you said. And I think you appear determined. So I wish you all the best.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you for your insights. Sri, you can unmute your mic and ask your query.
Yeah. Thank you so much once again for allowing me this opportunity to interact with the young entrepreneurs. It's very heartening to see dreaming early, young, and having opportunities and platforms like IIT Madras enabling those dreams come true. And earlier speaker also mentioned it's all about the journey. It's all about solving the problems, because in India, we have infinite problems, but finite people aiming to address those problems from various reasons. We may be triggered for various reasons to address these problems. So it's happy to see that youngsters, unlike me, I had an academic career and I was trying to address for 6 years publishing and trying to do that, because I'm picking up the point from Soundarya when she said like she deliberately not chose the academic pathway of dealing the problem rather than problem solving it as a grassroots being on the ground. Because I also tried to address oral cancer, depicting, documenting the burden in academic journals, but it was not going anywhere. That's when me and my guide thought, like, rather than looking at someone else to solve the problem, why can't we be the problem solvers? So it was a tough decision to quit academia after 10 years and coming into this entrepreneurial journey. And these kind of webinars and sessions and interacting with earlier speaker relating to her experience and learning from such real world scenarios is extremely important for all of us. to continue this journey with much more passion and much more understanding about real world situations. So if you can take 1 or 2 minutes to reflect on, because earlier speaker has also highlighted the importance of challenges, especially recognizing the woman entrepreneurial challenges. You are youngsters, I understand, but do you feel like the ecosystem is right now, the ecosystem is enabling women entrepreneurships kind of dreaming a little bit easy compared to what it was 2-3 years or 4 years back, so that youngsters can consider this as an alternative option rather than the typical stereotypical career options? Is entrepreneurship one career option for women STEM scholars?
I would like to say that this fellowship platform is like a very wonderful opportunity, irrespective of the gender or any background, which provides equal opportunity for anyone, like any young people or experienced people or fresher or anybody. It gives equal support to anyone, and it helps in coming up with, basically it has like actually saying 3 stages, identifying the needs and developing a startup idea and then develop the prototype. So actually, I would let me say something about the fellowship first. So I would like to say that I can compare this fellowship to a sandbox, where actually sandbox is a pit or a box in the ground below the swing filled with sand for children actually. So even if they fall down, they won't get hurt because of the sand, and that helps them to swing higher. So this fellowship is like a sandbox for bio entrepreneur, irrespective of women or men, anybody. It gives equal opportunity, and as I mentioned the structure, about the structure. So in this journey of the entrepreneurship, so we would face so much struggles and we'd make mistakes also. So this is like a structured program, or nurturing ourselves, so that in those times we have the guidance and mentoring support provided by the center and the fellowship, which would be very helpful for us to overcome the challenges. So in addition, I would like to say that finance is a great important thing for any startup, right? So for in fellowship, and each fellow would get a key grant, and which is very essential to develop the build the prototype. So these days, this kind of fellowships provided by the funded by the government, it's very helpful, and it's like actually motivating the young people to come up and think out of the box and come up into the real world and solve the problems out there. I think.
Sorry, Shri, you'll have to excuse me. I have to leave. I'm sorry, and thank you so much for having me on this session. I really appreciate it. I encourage and welcome anybody to reach out to me. So please feel free, drop me an email, drop me a note on LinkedIn, anything works. All right, take care, and good luck to everybody out there, and look forward to some amazing products and amazing products from all of you. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Actually, adding to Lena, I will tell, like, I'm seeing all my batch students who have gone for both PhD and are working in bio-core related companies, and even in core related companies, they are not doing core jobs, they are doing some other thing. And even in PhD, they sometimes lose the opportunity which align with their passion. So I think the young talents are lost in the competition. And in entrepreneurship, it's a desire to fly high and guts and courage to take the risk and go forward. That attitude is more important than the knowledge. So I think due to this, I feel it's a less competitive. I mean, competition to even for this fellowship, I think it is less compared to other PhDs or job. There are even 100 people applying for one company, but I didn't feel that level mass people trying for this fellowship. But this is just a very great opportunity to start their career, to prove their talent, to express their knowledge. But people are, I don't know whether they are not aware or not willing to, or they're lacking gut or some courage. I don't know what is the problem with the mindset, but I think here it's a very good opportunity for them.
Sorry to interrupt, Sri. We are running out of time,
Yeah.
so we have to wind up the session. So thanks for joining us. Thanks all the participants. Again, I would like to thank Mr. Mohan sir for joining us today. And we have posted the feedback form in the chat box. Participants are all requested to fill the feedback form in the feedback form, so it will be useful to us in the improve the upcoming session. Thank you all the Sparsh Fellows for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.